Hey guys, Frozen 2 is literally around the corner and I have a theory to present. This is my first time making a YouTube video, so sorry if I sound a little weird or mess up. Anyway, although my theory was inspired by the current Frozen 2 theorists, a lot of this theory consists of my own ideas and is way more in depth than other present theories. Due to these facts, I split my theory into two different videos, so just remember to look for part 2 after this program. With that being said, let's begin. In the beginning, there were four powerful elemental spirits called Earth, Air, Fire, and Water that lived in a beautiful enchanted forest teeming with green plants and other life. These spirits lived in the forest in peace and harmony with an ancient civilization called the Northuldra. This race is known to be a major enemy of Arendelle's culture since the reign of King Agnar's father, King Runard. Moving on, what we know so far about spirits' true forms is that the water elemental is in the form of a Nock, the wind elemental is named Gale and can be playful, mischievous, and sometimes threatening, the earth elemental is in the form of rock giants, and lastly, the fire elemental is in the form of a salamander named Bruni. That's right, guys, Bruni is the fire elemental, due to the fact that in the second trailer, the fire elemental maneuvers through the forest like a small animal, which indeed could be Bruni. Also, there are bright pink markings on Bruni giving us the hint that he is the fire elemental. Lastly, if you look on the back of the large Crayola coloring book for Frozen 2, you will see a picture of Bruni with fire covering his body. Everything was going well until the elemental spirits were somehow angered. Some even say that they were unleashed by the main antagonist of the movie, which is speculated to be female. Perhaps this antagonist will be a Mother Nature type of character that Elsa will be forced to face and battle at the climax of the film. While Annecy International Animation Festival attendees have so far called it an enchanted forest with mysterious and inexplicable powers, others have called it a reawakening and ancient magic. Based on all the information provided by the festival in the first Disney Frozen 2 synopsis, what we know about the antagonist is that it is the potential source of Elsa's powers and is calling her. It is directly linked to the four spirits and can control them. It is more powerful than Elsa, whom is already godlike. It needs her in order to complete its goals, and lastly, both the trolls and Elsa's parents know about it. There can only be one force that lines up with all of these guidelines, and that one force is the Aurora Borealis for many good reasons. The Aurora Borealis is both the source of Elsa's powers and the antagonist of the film because Grandpappy says in the second trailer that it goes specifically north, which is the general direction to where the northern lights would most likely be found. Also, the Aurora Borealis can be called, in many cases, nature's winter magic, which literally describes Elsa's powers in a nutshell, and many different versions of mythology say that the Aurora Borealis are trickster spirits that are known to attack or corrupt humanity when provoked, and also represent all that is unknown and magical in nature. This indicates that the Aurora Borealis is a mysterious primordial force that bends the laws of nature to its will. Next, the Aurora Borealis is seen everywhere in the first Frozen movie, Olaf's Frozen Adventure, and the second trailer for Frozen 2, indicating that the Aurora Borealis has significance to the Frozen continuum. Also, according to Disney, Elsa was born under the Aurora Borealis during a snowstorm that sent ice crystals all over the village of Arendelle. Could these ice crystals be the same crystals seen in all four trailers? I'm pretty sure they are the same. Next, the Aurora Borealis is multicolored just like each elemental spirit. Most noticeably, the fire elemental spirit in the second trailer is the color magenta, which is one of the main colors of the Northern Lights. If the antagonist of the film is the Aurora Borealis, then that would explain why it could communicate with Elsa, who apparently has a fraction of its ancient magic, which confirms that Elsa's powers are a sentient being. Remember in the first Frozen movie when Elsa's powers do more than she expects, particularly the time when she tries to escape over the fjord by subconsciously freezing the water? This is evidence that Elsa's powers are sentient and are an extension of the evil Northern Lights. Also, the Aurora Borealis is the source of Elsa's powers because it would explain how Elsa is able to manifest different colors of light in her ice magic. In both the short films Frozen Fever and Olaf's Frozen Adventure and the full Frozen movie, Elsa conjures the following colors: red, green, blue, magenta, or pink if you will, yellow, and white, which are all colors in the Aurora Borealis. The color red can be seen in the first movie, where Elsa is losing control of her powers in her ice castle after Anna is thrown out, and an eerie, haunting red light is emanating from the spiky walls of ice that make up her castle. The color blue can be seen when Elsa shoots ice blasts out of her hands in the first Frozen movie when she defends herself from the Duke of Weselton's men in her castle. The color green can be seen in Frozen Fever where Elsa changes her dress from blue to green using her powers. The color magenta can be seen in Frozen 1 when Poppy is showing her that fear is her enemy in the form of an evil, energized, glowing red and pulsating magenta snowflake. The color yellow can be seen in Frozen 1 when Elsa is chased by the Duke's men into her ice castle and runs into a room surrounded by ice walls that glow a bright yellow. Lastly, the color white can be seen when Elsa uses her powers to make snow in the first Frozen movie and the second trailer for Frozen 2 where Elsa is interacting with a white ice spirit outside the castle. To further prove that Elsa's powers come from the Aurora Borealis, the Lego short film made after the movie had a plot in which Elsa was forced to restore the Northern Lights in order to restore her ice magic. This may be perfect evidence that the Aurora Borealis is the source of her ice powers, which will falter without them. According to the website Icelandair.com, the Aurora has long been seen as a harbinger of doom, perhaps because of its red blood-like glow. Omens of war have been described in Poland, Prussia, Germany, Denmark, and Estonia, and among the Sami and Lapp people. This site goes on further to say that Norway, which is the inspiration in the creation of Arendelle, is a place where people submitted entirely to the lights. There was no waving, whistling, or staring at the Aurora Borealis, in case it reached down and touched you with unwelcome results. The mysterious phenomenon often provoked fear. All of this information proves that the Aurora Borealis is evil. Remember in the first movie when Poppy says to Elsa that there is beauty in her powers but also great danger and that she must control them and fear will be her enemy? This statement tells us that although the Northern Lights are beautiful, they can also be dangerous and strike fear in the hearts of individuals. Also, in all of the Frozen movies and shorts, the Aurora Borealis always has a neon green and purple color. Based on other Disney movies such as The Lion King, Princess and the Frog, Sleeping Beauty, and many others, neon green and purple are the colors of evil, which tells me that the Aurora Borealis is the main antagonist of Frozen 2, or may be involved. According to TravelLandLeisure.com and many others, the Northern Lights is known to be stronger at a period called the autumn equinox, which is the period of time in between the summer solstice and the winter solstice, in which the sun crosses an abstract projection of the Earth's equator in the night sky called the celestial equator. According to Jennifer Lee, Elsa was born on the winter solstice, so this tells me that possibly Elsa's birth is involved in the autumn equinox and may even have been foretold in an ancient prophecy long ago. This information also proves that the Northern Lights is involved in the season of fall, and could be totally involved in the plot of Frozen 2, which appears to be a fall-themed movie. This also proves that this is the perfect time for the Northern Lights to unleash its elemental destruction because it is at its strongest in the season of fall at the autumn equinox. We can even go as far to say that this lines up with Jennifer Lee's statement regarding the alignment of the celestial bodies of the cosmos having significance to Elsa's birth and abilities. Another fascinating discovery I made is that between Frozen 1 and the trailers of Frozen 2, there's a major parallelism of the number 4. Everything is in fours. The symbols on Arendelle's walls, the 4 evil elements, the 4 runic stones in the second trailer, even in the beginning of Frozen 1, when the Ice Masters, who I believe are members of the Northuldra and live far north, have finished their song regarding an icy forest both foul and fair and look up directly at the sky, 4 beacons of the Aurora Borealis can be seen reaching down to Earth, conveying that the Aurora Borealis is in control of the 4 elements and is secretly the basis of Arendelle's culture. In the Sami culture, which is what the Northuldra are based off of, the word for Northern Lights is Geohvasis, which means the light that you can hear, which totally leads me to believe that the Northern Lights are calling Elsa. Also, since the movie Frozen and the movie Tangled are in the same universe, perhaps the sun and moon have magical significance as well. I mean, Rapunzel was blessed with magic hair by a droplet of sun magic, and the Book of Runes in Frozen 1 says that an Arendelian ancestor was injured by a droplet of night magic and was healed by the trolls. So what's to say that they don't have significance to Frozen 2? Anyway, based on the new trailers, the Northuldra and Arendelle broke out in battle in the Enchanted Forest and accidentally enraged the spirits. During this battle, the wind elemental created an impenetrable blanket of mystical clouds around the forest, trapping both the Arendelle soldiers and the Northuldra people in the forest forever. Since this battle, there is a disconnect between the spirits and humankind, and no one is allowed in the forest or out. Anna and Elsa's father, King Agnar, at the time was a prince and was forced to face the evil force. As described by producers, Agnar did not know who saved him from the forest, but when the spirits became unstable, he heard a haunting voice cry out, leading me to believe that there is a central being. Who knows, maybe Prince Agnar was being careless in the forest and unintentionally provoked the forest, thus starting the War of the Realms. After this fight, Prince Agnar was rushed back to Arendelle. Perhaps the trolls helped Agnar return home safely. That would explain why he's now so familiar with them. This entire event was told by the present King Agnar in the form of a bedtime story to his daughters in the movie. Perhaps the scene where the boy is lifted in the air by wind in the second trailer was Prince Agnar. Though the girl may or may not be Queen Iduna. So, after the epic bedtime story, Queen Iduna, played by Evan Rachel Wood, sings a song to her daughters about a mystical river of memory where all is found. Further studies reveal that the name of this mystical river is Adahalan. This river apparently knows the past, the present, and the future, and is completely sentient. Next, the scene in the second trailer where Iduna is watching the Northern Lights while Elsa watches her probably takes place after she sings the lullaby. Now, after the girls go to sleep, there is a time jump to the present which is after Olaf's Frozen adventure. At this time, Anna, Kristoff, Elsa, Olaf, and Sven are seen playing a game of charades. They play for a while, acting out certain words like villain until it's Elsa's turn, who becomes distracted by an angelic voice that only she can hear. The fact that the word villain was acted out makes me think that there is an actual antagonist in the film. The answer to why Elsa has her powers is calling her and threatening her kingdom, which implies that the antagonist of the film is the source of her powers, and is threatening her kingdom. Anyway, when her time is up, she retires to her room in order to sleep. While Anna is worried about her sister, Kristoff tries to propose to her, but his attempt fails when Anna becomes distracted and leaves to check on Elsa. Anna later checks on Elsa and comforts her sister with the same song that their mother sang to them years ago. After that, they both fall asleep, watching the Northern Lights. Later that night, Elsa is awoken by the voice and disturbed to the point where she leaves the castle and sings a song called Into the Unknown. There are at least 4 new songs in the movie, but this song is about Elsa wanting to follow her calling, but also not wanting any more adventure. During this majestic song, Elsa encounters a mysterious spirit that takes control of her powers that I believe she tells her the future by shape-shifting. Afterwards, she ends her song by rushing to the edge of a cliff, sadly watching the spirit ascend and unleashing a powerful spell of levitating mystical ice runes. Okay guys, that is all of part 1 for my Frozen 2 theory, and if you want to hear the rest of my theory, please check out my next video, which has the same name as this video, just instead of being labeled part 1, it is labeled part 2. Also, if you like this video, please subscribe below and learn more about my take on Frozen 2. See you guys later.